This is an image that was part of a photo shoot that was tied to a Time feature story from August 2015. This picture reads a lot differently to me now than perhaps it read to people when it was first created.
This, as a study for their cover, was really more at a point in time when we were laughing with Donald, or a lot of people were, as opposed to laughing at him. And then the use of the eagle seemed more like him playing with the idea of the statesman, almost like a founding father.
One of the things that's interesting to me about this image is in its profusion of what I would call pretty thin symbolism. It's very Trump. The awards in the back, lining the wall, the football helmets, the eagle. It's America. We're going to be great. You know, I mean, as I look at this image, I can literally hear him in his speeches with the kind of hyper aggressively positive adjectives, just, you know, they're literally kind of spewing all out behind him, and the vaguely unidentifiable awards, some are glass, some are plat, like what are all these awards? Are they all his? You know, the portrait of himself in the lower left. I mean, it's sinister and it's funny, but it's like this fabulous combination of both of those at the same time.
To me, it looks like trophies you might have in a kid's room. You know, they're kind of small and they look sort of cheap, and they're just all shoved in there, you know, as we live in this age where everybody gets a trophy for everything. So I thought that they were kind of comical in that way. And then I wanted to note the cross that he has in the back. It is importantly behind all of his trophies, right? So his trophy is much more important than the cross. But that just, you know, underscores this notion of trying to throw everything in to appeal to, you know, that demographic he's trying to reach.
I don't think it gives the message that they were perhaps hoping. He does not have that bravado and confidence. He still shows some of that concern about the eagle being there. He looks hesitant with his thumb up. So I don't think this came out in perhaps the way that they had intended.
Yeah, and I think it also just kind of speaks to this overall spectacle that has been evolving over the last many decades. And each 4 years, it gets more and more over the top, and right when you think you've reached the top, it goes a bit more up, and I think that we are a witness to that now.
You know, you could have done this very easily with a clean backdrop, but I think by having the context of his office at Trump Tower in Central Park, I mean, there's a lot to see here. I think it should note, from what I read about this shoot, that Trump and his camp were actually really into this idea, and I had never heard whether they liked the final product or not, but I would suspect maybe they did. And I think what's important to add about how we perceive these photographs are how one side perceives it very different from the other in the same way they look at any sort of political issue. So while people might look at this and say, you know, oh, this is great, it's a parody of Trump, there are many other people who would look at this and say, this is amazing, this is a beautiful picture.